but it is, it's like a confirmation and an affirmation and almost a prayer that you can sort of give unto yourself. It's so the movement and the rhythm of it awakens like a song inside of you, and and that's the vibrational, energetic form of the whole essence of what is being expressed. So that people begin to feel it more than trying to work it out. And of course there'll be conflict, but it's okay.
I think that's important, the reminding people that they are light, and also the bit about synchronicity. That there is a play.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you were thinking just outside of the formal thing, just to share? Or
I think also that there's two sort of two elements at work here, because in the consciousness of where we are at present, where there's so much seeming disorganization and a lot of chaos, it's good to understand that beyond that, the elements are moving in a direction that is essentially supportive and essentially there for us to utilize in a different way. So we sometimes can only see the chaos and the messiness and the misunderstandings and the miscommunication and the lack of continuity. But if we can go beyond that and see that, oh, as a universal being, I can go beyond that reflection of human discourse and see that the elements are essentially supportive and not here to just make life difficult. And that's where the information that helps us move into the rhythm and the dance of this experience is in the elements. It's already present as a universal experience, and because we come from that, it's inside of that, and that inside of us, and that's where the dance is. It's between ourselves and the universe, and beginning to set up a discourse, a communication that is never the same for every being. It's sometimes completely different because we're seeing and experiencing things in our sensory realm in a multiplicity of ways. And that's the generosity of the spirit, is that we have that ability to literally source ourselves into that experience through what we already have inside of us and through our own genetic complexity. We can express ourselves in different ways but still be communicating into the consciousness of the universe. And then that's how we can turn the volume down and express ourselves in ways that are less chaotic and less stressful and less anxious and less angry.
David, a lot of people are in conflict with friends, family, or just with themselves, and whilst wanting community, they're sort of struggling with that. What do you see around conflict and the light? ways to move through it so that we're freer and not so bogged down.
Look, I think the energy of conflict often is more present sometimes than we realise. That we feel at the moment that maybe it's all coming to a head, and I thought I got on really well with this person and now I'm not. But on reflection, it can also be that the tolerance and the lack of understanding has often been there much longer than you might imagine. And it's up to us as to what we do with that and how we deal with it. But it's not unusual to feel that suddenly, I'm in conflict. I can't get on with so-and-so and everything's breaking up around me. But the seeds of that are often in the past, and it's up to us as to how we negotiate that, how we resolve it within ourselves. And it could be that there might be a coming together, there might be an understanding, or there might be a separation. And it's good to realize that the sentiment of disruption and chaos is so strong at the moment and so powerful that it's almost impossible not to, in a way, be drawn into it. And so, on one hand, you can have the energy that's saying, oh, this is coming from the past, it's been simmering away for maybe a very long time. But it's heightened by the sense of almost this sort of semi-background chaotic noise that's making everything exaggerated at the moment. So it's good to remember, and this is where the rhythm of the light can take hold, is if you keep coming back to that and saying, yes, I am a being of light, I am a universal consciousness, I am in the flow and the rhythm of the light of love, and I will be that as much as is humanly possible, and that it's not a competition, it's not a stress, it's just acceptance. And that's often the most difficult thing for people, to just say yes.
And what about where there's blame? Someone feels something's done to them and they're sort of putting it all out on the other person, not wanting to have a look at maybe their own creation. Is there anything around that that could be helpful, a viewpoint?
Blame is it's a kind of inflammation that becomes sort of buried in our superstructure, and so that it's sort of endemically built into us, because that's one of the tools we've used to defend ourselves over time. So it's nothing new, but it's how do we allow ourselves the privilege of moving this energetic form away from us, and the only means that I've been showing of doing that is through lifting up the energetic form of your being by constantly affirming and realizing that the light is able to create and recreate a superstructure in our energetic form and into our human biological existence that allows us to get above and beyond the old subframe of those sort of indictments that we've lived with and lived through for a very long time. So you can approach this psychologically, and you can, and I'm not saying that that isn't a help, because obviously for a lot of people it is an enormous help, but and as a tool you can deconstruct it and look at your responses and how you're responding, and not allow yourself not to get towed into the conflict of it all. But ultimately it's a physiological expression of more light that's going to lift us out of that energy, so that that subframe of response and the way of responding just becomes obsolete. And however long that takes is entirely up to us. It's how we approach it. Because when you go into if you start to look into I feel blamed, or I find that I'm blaming someone else, it's not easy to get out of that sort of syndrome if you're trying to isolate it as, I've got to work on my blame, I've got to work on this. It becomes, I think, significantly more difficult to move it that way, because you're isolating it and your mind becomes too involved in it. So there are many, many tools we can use and utilize to help ourselves, especially where we live. There's a multiplicity of things we can do to help us, but ultimately it's a transformation through light that's going to allow that subframe of pressure and pressurized responses to fall away.
I'm just thinking about wellness too. How would you define wellness or view wellness at this time? What is wellness? Being well.
The whole experience of what I'm expressing through myself at the moment is really about health and well-being. And I don't want to isolate that as just a sort of localized experience, but that is in a way what I've been expressing in my own life for so many years. So obviously the work that's coming through at the moment is connected and interconnected into that sense of well-being. And it's just that at the moment it's expanding out into a more universal context, because we're able now to realize that this is essentially where we can connect and interconnect to begin to feel well-being and to get to know what it's actually like, so that all the things that we might be doing to help ourselves through whatever it is, changing our diet or lifestyle or exercise, can become more integrated, so that they're not just things we do in a sort of multiplicity of facets, but they're keyed into a universal relevance. And that's where I think the momentum of this wellness, it's a tricky old word to use at the best of times, but it's that energetic form that if we can keep it connected into the universal mainframe of existence, then it helps. We can move through change more quickly, with less stress, less worry, and not be so interpersonalized on these conflict levels. Just lifting yourself above them. It doesn't mean you're sticking your head in the sand or avoiding things need to be done or said or carried out. It's just that you notice the difference because you're feeling it, and it's not about shouting it from the rooftops or making a big song and dance about it. It's just what you're feeling individually through your interconnectedness with the experience of universality. We're not here for no reason. We do have the opportunity to move out of the conflict zones we've created and the behaviours that we cling on to. And it's beautiful.
And finally, David, I'll edit this anyways, but what makes you happy?
I'm very happy at the moment, Danny, when I can drop something, when I can let go. It's good when I can, when I have a conflict in my own being, and I can get to it more quickly. And sometimes it takes time, but it's the sense of ease that you feel when you think, oh yeah, wow, there's that little habit coming up again, and it's just resurfacing in a different way. And often the fundamental habits we exhibit and experience, so much of it is about our own lack of self-worth and all the doubt and fear and anxiety that arises from that. And it's good to watch that and just see it for what it is. It's programming, it's habit. And how much we cling on to them to defend ourselves. And that's the power of our mind. Oh, I love going there because it's going to really mess me up.
Is there anything else that makes you happy?
Yeah, look, just doing Danny. I love I love being outside, working in nature and being in touch with the land and the elements. I'm really enjoying that at the moment, because it's a quick way of seeing, oh yeah, I'm just this little being in this great big field of energy.
And why are you doing this? Why are we recording this? What's the feeling behind it?
Yeah, that's a good question, Danny, because we haven't sat together for a while, and that's enough time for the mind to begin to think, why are you doing this? What do you want to be doing this for? You could be out walking on the beach, or but it feels good. It feels right, and when I'm connected and interconnected into the depth of my relationship with spirit, for want of a better word, it just says yes. Let's do this.
Yeah, definitely not ego. I don't feel that I need this wanting to just for the sake of it, but it's feels really helpful, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, pleasure, Danny.
I wish that everyone can hear and get whatever they need from these, because it's good to serve. I think it's about serving too. It's serving something bigger than ourselves, just to allow people to tune in and whatever resonates.
Yeah, look, it's really what I've been doing for, it's not really any different from what I've been doing for 40 years. It's just a bit bigger.
Yeah.
A bit more expansive, because that's the energy at the moment. That, all this sense of conflict and aggravation that's out on the table is, it gives us the opportunity to move beyond that and see ourselves as beings of light who can begin to transcend some of our behaviours and self-expression more creatively, more generously.
Yeah, and as people get better or feel more connected to the light and to themselves, it's the ripple effect is also to be acknowledged, because that's where that's the whole purpose, is to, so we all go up. It's not about you feel better because we hurt,
That's right.
It's a collective thing to uplift the whole vibration.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Where it will go.
Yeah.
Who will listen? Who will watch? Who knows? And that's something that over years that it took me really a long time to get through this. Because I was very attached to outcome, and now I'm completely unattached to outcome, and it's great, because that allows for expansion. It allows for synchronicity. It gives you more space.
Yeah, outcome is interesting only because it's almost a limiting belief. It caps the potential, and it's also there's some sort of we know where we don't know, and it's better. There's power in not knowing, and what you're talking about, no attachment, no expectation, no limitations, no significance. These things are helpful, and we'll probably keep revisiting them in different ways, because we need to be reminded. I think that's the other thing where this is useful is, as much as we can hear this once, it's good to come back to it and have some home base you can tune in, a portal where you can actually just feel whatever's coming through at any moment. One word, one sentence. We'll hear things 10 times and hear it differently each time, perhaps.
That's right. It's an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Let's see where we go.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Dan.
David. That's really beautiful.